Hey, how's it going? Mars FPV drones, drone junkie. What's going on, guys? I just had, oh, Chris Hope, what's up? I had a few little technical glitches a second ago, but I think we're in here. Andre, Peter, Rafi, Beach Bum, Michael, Tom. Beach Bum, hello from Virginia. How's it going? Whitaker. Chris Hope, I've been well. Hope you are. David, how's it going? No sound? You can't hear me? Can anyone else hear me other than Chris Hope? Joshua, Experimental RC, how's it going? Can you hear me? Steve Carpenter, how's it going? Ellie, welcome back. Carrie. Still waiting on confirmation that you can hear me. Just give me a yes or a thumbs up. Cool. Okay. Awesome. Got some people saying yes. Yeah, I just, there's a lag. There's like probably what, 20, 25 seconds? We can kind of figure that out by the first time I asked until all the people start chiming in. So yeah, there's definitely like a 20, 30-second lag between me saying something and you guys hearing it. But yeah, I'm just reading some of the people who are coming in here. I'm probably going to miss somebody, but we have Eric and we have John. We have Joe's Drone Life, Aerial Graphics. I'm going upward so I don't miss anyone. Then we got Rob. We got James, I think. Yes, Maynard, MC Sean. I'm just going to say hello to everyone at this point. Hello. Thanks for joining me. There's a lot of people here, and I'm sure that we can all talk to each other and have a great conversation. Yeah, so first of all, I just wanted to join the live stream here and just say hello. It's been a little while since I posted anything. In fact, my last live stream was the 100K Mavic Pro live stream at the park almost 2 weeks ago now. And so first of all, I just wanted to say the next week or so, probably not going to do a whole lot of content, but starting the week after is when things are going to get back into the normal shape of my channel with putting out content, you know, a couple times a week. So just bear with me. I do have a couple cool things in store, a couple things that are being sent to me for review, and also some video ideas. Some of them are going to be kind of geared towards someone who's just getting into drones. So like, where do I start? I just bought a drone, or I don't even have a drone yet. Where do I get? You know, kind of trying to explain what people's needs are and what they could potentially think about in making a purchase, or, you know, trying to get them off the ground for the first time. And I've also got to do a few things here actually while I'm on camera on the live stream. I was flying with my buddy Scott a couple hours ago doing some FPV drones, and I busted my battery. I'm not sure if you guys can see this. Yeah, this is supposed to be rectangular, like a brick in shape, and I've turned it into some sort of trapezoid. This is very unsafe to have a battery like this. You don't want to be using a battery that's so misshapen. So what we're going to do on camera is discharge it. And I just want to show you guys how I do that. Car light bulb, like a vehicle headlight bulb. And we're just going to plug it up, very, very bright, and stick it into a heat-resistant bag or a container like this. And this thing is just going to glow off camera for a couple minutes here until it dies down. And this thing gets really hot, but with any luck, the light bulb's not going to explode. And we're just going to let that sit. And in the next few minutes, you should see this thing die down. So that's how I drain all my batteries to 0 volts so that I can get rid of them safely. A battery like that that's so damaged, is really not a good idea to be using and to be charging and stuff. So discharging it to 0 volts, and then you can throw it away or, you know, do whatever you want with it. Makes it safe, and it makes it so it's not going to blow up. So anyway, let's see. I probably got a few questions coming in. What software am I using to live stream? This is Wirecast. I have a few issues actually showing my desktop. I was going to show my desktop, and I thought that'd be a cool idea for maybe some things as we talk about topics or answer questions. But I'm having a few issues with that too. I just don't live stream enough to really be on top of this thing. If you want to know a live stream connoisseur, someone who really knows how to live stream, you probably all know Ken Herron. He's been doing his live stream every Thursday evening, Thursday Night Live, and he is so much better at live streaming, and I love to be on his show with him, but I'm so glad that when I am on his show, he handles all the live stream stuff. All right, so yes, hello everyone. Should recycle, yes. Definitely recycle when you can. What do people think about the Mavic Air? I think it's a good drone. Yeah, by the way, this is not blown up yet. We have this kind of covered. I should actually zip it up halfway. That way, if it does blow up, it's not going to blow up in my eyes. Yeah, I love the Mavic Air when I had it. I don't have it now. I did end up selling it just because I have other drones that I prefer to use for the most part, but I really like the 100 megabits per second video. The Mavic Pro, the original one, only had, I think, 60 megabits per second as a max. So when the Mavic Air was released, that was 100 megabits per second video. And so for a while there, I preferred to use the Mavic Air until the Mavic 2 lineup was announced. Why not go outside and light it on fire instead? That would be much more entertaining than watching a battery drain. That's actually a really good idea, Eli. Is that right? Did I say it right this time? I know I said it wrong the first time. Yeah, that... Actually, I have a few other batteries. We could do that. I'm not prepared to start a fire outside at the moment, but maybe that's a video we can do. I've seen a couple of people with slow motion cameras capture battery punctures and that type of thing. That's not a bad idea. I still have my Sony RX100 Mark V, which records almost 1,000 frames a second. So during the day, we could definitely get something like that. Jack Barry asks, how do you void the DJI restricted areas if you are Part 107? There is an application process if you're like smack dab in the middle of an airport restriction zone. So normally we can do an unlock with the DJI Go 4 app by inputting I think our phone number into the DJI Go 4 when it asks us to, when it says that we're in a restricted or a no-fly zone. But there is a very small radius, like red zone. It shows up as red. Everything else is like orange or yellow. The very center where a major airport is red, and then you actually have to apply, and you have to do it a couple days in advance. At least that was the case last time I tried. They may have simplified the process a little bit, but for the most part, yes, you want to make sure if you need to fly right next to an airport and you do have authorization, proper FAA authorization, the DJI Go 4 app needs to be addressed, and you need to find your way around unlocking that well in advance. What is the best way to stream from the drone to a big screen live with little lag? Well, depends what kind of drone you have. So the Mavic 2, well, the DJI Smart Controller has an HDMI out. I think also the Phantom 4 Pro version 2 also has an HDMI out. So that makes it really easy. To stream a big screen live. Otherwise, I'm trying to think. I mean, like there's iPads and that type of thing. Maybe someone else has an idea about that. How you would get an image or a live stream onto like a big television, something like that. There's got to be a connection, some sort of device that you guys use. And I'm pretty sure someone down there is going to be chiming in with their ideas. I see Chris Rollins. How's it going, man? Nice to see you in here. That's awesome. I got to call you. We got to talk. I haven't. We need to go over a few things. I'll try and remember to do that and make myself a note. Do you think any new drones this year from DJI? Well, first of all, back up once with Rob. Yeah, the Mavic Air is a bit loud. Just because the props are so small, it sounds like a mosquito, a really loud mosquito, as opposed to a lower pitched hum or buzz of the Mavic 2s and stuff like that. So yeah, I do agree that the Mavic Air is a little bit more annoying to listen to. But if you get it up far enough, you're not going to hear it too bad. But yeah, so Vinny Sims asks, you think any new drones this year from DJI? I'm going to read an article that I just read before I got on here. This is from UAVcoach.com. And if anyone, actually, you know what? I'm just going to put this link into the chat. And that's going to show up way before you hear me what I'm saying right now. But anyway, says DJI discontinues production of Phantom 4 Pro. Drone enthusiasts are ready for Phantom 5 release. So if there's anything, and they go through like how that could be possible that there's a Phantom 5, but then there's also other reasons why the Phantom 4 Pro could have been discontinued that are equally as believable and legitimate. So it would be really cool, though, if a Phantom 5 was released soon and that was kind of like the Phantom 4 Pro being discontinued was a reason for that. But at the same time, this article goes through a couple other things, like parts were getting hard to find due to the whole DJI fraud thing. Back in January, DJI uncovered widespread fraud within the company. So they talk about a few things there. So that could be the issue. But otherwise, it could be the Phantom 5, and I'm really excited for that. And it actually goes through some of the rumors, some of the things that it could be, such as longer control distance, increased speed, obstacle avoidance, upgrades like all 6 directions, and an improved camera with a, these are all rumors, but it'd be really cool if they were all implemented into the Phantom 5. So that's what I'm excited for. I would love to be proven right about that. I've been waiting for a Phantom 5 for a long time. The Phantom 4 line is old. I think it's older than the Mavic, the original Mavic. So to get a Phantom 5 out, I think it's about time. I lost my place in the comments. Rafi asks, am I more into racing drones or normal ones? Well, I think recreationally, I've been leaning toward racing drones. I really love zipping around with those little guys. But, of course, I do a lot of commercial work, and I do a lot of videography and photography for people, and you really can't do that with an FPV drone like this. By the way, this is the new Armiton Marmot frame. Was released a couple weeks ago. And I ordered it, but I ordered it from a Chinese supplier. Well, Armiton has a Chinese warehouse, which I ultimately, unfortunately, ordered from, and it took forever. And I have a couple more frames coming. But yeah, this is what I flew today. It doesn't have the GoPro or the battery, obviously, but it is a beautiful frame. The carbon fiber on this is awesome. So yes, I think as a social activity, I prefer racing drones and freestyle FPV drones, but I think for getting things done, accomplishing shots, and getting shots that would be incorporated into larger productions and videos, vlogs and that type of thing, I think definitely DJI and other intelligent GPS assisted drones like that they just can't be replaced. Not really. You could try to do some of those things with an FPV drone, but you'll never get that shot that you're looking for with a GPS-assisted drone. I need to go down a little bit further on the comments because I guess I've been taking too long to answer a couple of these questions. I'm getting behind. Bori asks, what's the best beginner's fast drone like those small ones I use? There's a couple good ones. It really depends. I mean, do you want to do something that's indoors where you might start getting used to flying FPV within the confines of your house or a large building where you're not going to be getting stuck in a tree or something like that? Then you could look for maybe a tiny whoop of some sort. or a micro drone of that nature with prop guards or whatever. But if you want to go with maybe something like a 5-inch, that's gonna keep you going for a while. You're not gonna outgrow a 5-inch FPV quad as fast as you would maybe a smaller one that you were just getting started with. So I think I'll probably be putting out a few videos about that in the future. But I'll also just refer you to one of my inspirations. I know he's also one of Chris Rollins' inspirations. By the way, thank you, Chris Rollins, for saying you miss me. I do appreciate that. So Mr. Steele on YouTube has a whole series of how to get started with FPV, and I suggest you check that out. Mr. Steele on YouTube, and he's got, I don't know, a dozen or more videos on just how to get started. Scrolling down, here we go. Drone News Guy just said DJI will release up to 5 new products this month. I do not know anything about it, but that's pretty crazy. I know they're trying to get more into the mapping side of things and geology stuff. I have no idea about all that. I don't really care that much, but they could be releasing some of those things. But hey, if they're releasing a few cool things this month, I would love to get in on that. But I don't know. Downswing player Ed, how do you know when to change your propellers? Well, if they look good and they sound good and they act good, you're probably okay. But the moment you start getting little micro cracks, the moment that it doesn't look so pristine, maybe you've hit some things when you land and your props are still spinning, but you're hitting tall grass or twigs or maybe gravel, and you land and you're kicking up a bunch of stuff. Eventually, you might start tearing into your props and you don't have that smooth edge. You want to make sure that your props are nice and smooth. With an FPV drone, maybe not quite so important, but with a DJI drone, yes, I think it's more important to maintain a pristine prop on your motors. You're flying those so much further. You're flying them upwards of a mile or more, maybe up to a couple miles if you have good signal strength. And you really don't want your props to be exploding or breaking on you or failing, especially when you're flying over water. I fly my DJI drones so much more over water than I do my FPV drones. That's just because I trust my DJI drones more. They're so much more, predictable. They don't fall out of the sky like my FPV quad did today. All right. Scrolling down. Mike is saying I have a Phantom 5 and just can't say right now. I wish. I'm not going to lie to you. No, I don't have a Phantom 5 and I know nothing about it. Do you think DJ will have an April Fool's joke tomorrow? I forgot it was April Fool's tomorrow. No way. Glad I did this now and not tomorrow, because then, I don't know, someone would be pulling an April Fool's joke mid-live stream or something, and I'd freak out. Highest wind speed Pro 2 can handle, says Tom King. I think you just have to use common sense. I think 20 miles per hour is doable. But I think that you're probably pushing that any higher wind speed, especially flying over water. You want to make sure you're not flying too far away from you with wind speed that high. And you want to make sure that when you fly away from you, you're not going to be flying back against a strong headwind and can't make it back before your battery dies on you. That's the biggest thing that I worry about with wind speed. Not necessarily the fact that it's very windy, although if it's like 40 miles per hour wind, I definitely wouldn't be taking it up. But just the fact that I make sure that the direction and the way that I'm flying is going to coincide with wind speed and not going to... I'm not going to find myself with 10% battery and I'm still 2,000 feet away and my drone starts automatically landing. If it's high wind, you're probably also either, in the mountains or you're over water or you're in some place where it really is not a good idea it would be very inconvenient to lose your drone or to have it automatically land. So yeah, if it's high wind and you're in any environment like that, I'd say either don't fly far or just maybe think about doing it another day. Ha! DJI will announce they improved their customer service. April Fools. That'd be a funny one. Films. Oh, I guess you probably typed that question before I answered the other question from Tom King. So kind of the same thing. What do I think of the DJI Osmo? Well, I have the Osmo Pocket. That's the only DJI Osmo I've ever used. This little guy. DJI Osmo Pocket. I love this thing. I use it, quite a bit. So this little guy is awesome. I went to Boston recently. If you guys have seen some of my recent videos, went to Boston. I took the Autel Evo just to switch it up a little bit, and then I brought this guy along with my Panasonic GH5, and I used the Osmo Pocket a ton. I just had it literally in my jacket pocket, my front, like where you put your hands, and I would just take it out and film as I was walking, whenever I entered a building, whatever was going on. It was so cool. The only thing, I freaked out my Lyft driver, because when I took this out of my pocket, the way I did it with this little flap that kind of, the strap that keeps it in, it almost looked like I was pulling out a small pistol or something. And he definitely did a double take, and he looked at me, and I was like, oh, it's just a camera, man. It's just a camera. He didn't really see the whole shape of it. He just saw like this much, and I think he probably thought that it was something a little crazy. I don't know. Or maybe I'm reading too much into it. Andrew says $2 or $3 grand US dollars for the new DJI mapping software. They can keep it. Well, I guess, if it's some sort of commercial application that they're using, maybe $2 or $3 grand is just a drop in the bucket. But for you and I, it sounds like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Downswing Player, thank you very much. New Mavic Pro owner. Well, congratulations. Ed, would you use a drone propeller if the propeller is a little loose? That really depends on what you mean by loose. Probably not. I don't know why it would be loose though, unless it was broken or bent or the motor wasn't holding it in properly. So yeah, if you have a loose prop, definitely swap it out. And if every prop is loose, like you swap out one prop for a perfectly good other prop and the motor still isn't holding it properly, then it's probably your motor that is the issue at that point. So I would consider getting that replaced or fixed. Let's see. We got Melon here. How's it going? 400 AGL. Nice to see you again. Peter asks, looking at getting a Mavic 2 zoom, can you zoom in photography, not just in film? Yes, you can definitely zoom in for photography. And there is, I think they call it super res mode, where the drone will zoom in, and I think it's 9 images, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, into a like a large square, and it's a super resolution image. So it zooms in on the image and captures in whatever resolution it does 9 different pictures into this little, this 3x3 square, essentially. I can't remember what the resolution is, but I have it in my video, and it's a pretty high resolution photo. So that's one way that the Mavic 2 Zoom really excels in photography. But yeah, other than that, you can zoom in and definitely do, take some photos that way. DJI release date 23rd of April. Fingers crossed it's the Phantom 5. Mars. Interesting. Interesting. We'll keep an eye out for that. I'll put that on my calendar. How do you start your videography business? How did I? It was somewhat out of necessity, but when I graduated college with a broadcasting degree, I realized that I went to school for a lot of news gathering type videography and a lot of like talk show and live television production. And I wasn't really into that. I didn't really enjoy that, and I didn't really enjoy the fact that I was being tailored to do that type of thing. Although I learned lots of different videography, approaches and stuff, but that was the main thing. I mean, it's broadcasting. I graduated with broadcasting. So it's like live television is what my focus was. I wasn't really into that when I graduated. I didn't really want to get a job there. So instead, I kept working at a grocery store and saved up money to buy my first camera, and then just started promoting myself as a videographer and kind of learned things as I went. There are a couple of projects I did that year, and it's always kind of grown since then, but it started out relatively small with just one camera and me. I was living at my parents' house at the time. It was fun. Tom King asked, do I really need to see the info on the DJI remote? I want to use an iPad Mini 5. So you're saying like you'd rather have an iPad Mini floating above the controller and not have to see all the telemetry and the battery life and all that on this display directly on the Mavic controller? Yeah, everything that's on there is going to be in your DJI Go 4 app. So really you don't need to see the Mavic Pro readout screen on the remote. You really don't have to see that. Fun with Drones 1993 is a Lyft driver. That's cool. So what would you think if someone came into your car, he's sitting next to you, and he pulls out something like this and starts unstrapping it and taking it out, and you're like, what is that? What would this look like? You start pulling this thing out. I don't know. I would say, whoa, hold on. But then I'd realize, oh, it's just a camera. The question is from Paul. Does the drone work fine in winter's cold? I haven't flown it this winter because it was so cold. Well, there's definitely an operating temperature that they have suggested. I think there's a suggested operating temperature on the DJI website. So if there's any question, you can look in. But every drone is different in that regard. So it really depends. But anything below freezing, below 0 degrees Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit, I think you'd probably want to make sure the battery stays warm until you get to start flying. So if you're traveling or you're walking to a destination or you're outside and you're setting up, make sure that your batteries are somewhat insulated up until that point. And then once you start the drone and you fly, the battery will probably maintain a certain amount of warmth just because those batteries run a little bit warm when they're being used. So I think the biggest thing there is just proper care beforehand. Rob asks, have I ever shot Dew Gardens or Falls Lake? Now, where is that exactly, Rob? I can't remember. I have not. Reading. Yeah. Oh, so Mel, I didn't hear that they're discontinuing the Phantom line in general. I heard that they're discontinuing the Phantom 4. And some of us were speculating that that was to make room for the Phantom 5, but I don't know. What have you heard? What exactly have you heard about that? Was it Phantom in general? Have you tried to update firmware on non-DJI batteries to fool drone to use them? No, I have not. Never done that. Fun with Drones 1993 says, my hand would be on my 9mm. Yeah. Interesting. Until Max said that Mel is right. Yeah, I bet no Spark 2. That is dead too. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about the Spark 2. Good question. Mavic Air 2 is more likely? That'd be interesting to see. All right, well, Phantom line is dead. I've heard it from a couple different people. Thanks for letting us know. We'll keep an eye on it. August 23rd, we'll see what's up. What is the micro USB of the Android of the DJI Spark on the DJI Spark charging hub for? If I'm trying to understand what you're saying. So that's for charging the DJI Spark remote control, assuming that you purchased it. If I recall, the DJI Spark can be sold just as a Spark and also with a remote control. And when it first was released, it wasn't clear to everyone that that was the case. So when they thought they were buying a Spark, they thought they were also purchasing the remote control. But if I'm understanding your question properly, the micro USB of the Android, of the DJI Spark your question's a little disjointed, but that's what the micro USB is for charging the remote control, and also you could then use it with the controller too, hooking up an Android device to your remote control as well. But of course, the Spark can also be used with just Wi-Fi connection. Mel has 3-month-old info from a director at DJI on no P5 and no more consumer phantoms. Well, I guess that's it. I still want a Phantom 5. I do. Yeah. Well, that's an interesting idea. I wonder what else is coming up, though. I mean, they've always kind of had something different released. You know, we had the Mavic Air, we had the Mavic 2. We've had a lot of Mavic things go on recently, and then different versions of the Mavic, like the Platinum or the White. It'd be really cool if they did release something else that was consumer, that wasn't quite so Mavic oriented. They're really hitting the Mavic hard. And I understand the Mavic Pro was and still is the most popular drone they've ever released. I think that's still the case. Or the Mavic lineup in general is definitely the most popular. So Phantom was right behind that. But yeah, if they want to get rid of it, okay. Just for your information, I should say, just FYI, Lank works great, especially with Part 107. I recommend for anyone that doesn't have AirMap app, you should get it. Yes, I have AirMap on my phone. It's awesome. Bring it up here. Oh, it's still keyed up on Boston. I haven't used it since I was in Boston. Yeah. If you can see, oh, that's blown out. Can't really see, can you? Nope. Not today. Well, if anyone has not used the AirMap app, you should get it. I think it's for Android as well as for iOS, and it has Lank authorization, so you can get authorization to fly near airports, assuming you also have the proper authorization with, or you've notified the airport, and you have Part 107. You can get authorization within that 5-mile radius of an airport up to a certain altitude, and it tells you how high potentially you could go, whether it's 100 feet or 200 feet AGL. I used that in Boston at least once to get a nice shot of some places that otherwise I would not have been able to fly without FAA authorization. And the old way for FAA authorization was very time consuming. It's kind of a funny story. I applied for an FAA airspace waiver in October of, I think it was 2017. They called me around, it was either March or April 2018. So like 7 months, 6 or 7 months afterward. And I needed it for like the following week. I knew I was cutting it short, but I needed it for like the following week. And they got to me 6 or 7 months later, and they were like, "Hey, so we just want to call you and just you don't need this anymore, do you? Like, we can delete this from our file." And I was like, "No, of course I don't need it. Look at the date. It was last year." And he's like, "Okay, we'll just want to check in." And I said, "Well, how do I do it from here on? Because this took 7 months to do this." And he goes, "Well, we're about that far behind on applications." And so I thought that was kind of weird. I'm like, "Well, why are you calling people and wasting your time if you're behind on applications that are obviously outdated and just can be deleted. So I thought that was kind of strange. And the guy was working from home. I could hear his dog barking, and he had mentioned that he's one of the people who like works from home to do these things. So they didn't seem to have a very good grasp on the FAA airspace authorization as of like a year or two ago. But now with LANC authorization, it's so much better with AirMap and such. Ah, okay. Mel says, if they drop another Phantom now, I was told it would be a Phantom Enterprise commercial unit. All right. I mean, that's cool, but I don't think I would go for that unless it had some really good camera. I'm not really into the infrared camera or stuff like that. It just doesn't really interest me. But if it had a better normal camera, shoot like 5K, or maybe the Phantom that had a zoom lens, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, Vinny says, be right back, getting AirMap. And I think it's a free app, right? Yeah, there's no charge. I think it's free to use when you're also getting your authorization. What's going on, Haterade? Interesting name. Yeah, David, you had the right idea. It sounds like they may move Phantom series to Enterprise. Tom King says 10-second approval. That was about right. There was an issue, though, where I wanted to fly, and it was around sunset or right before sunset in Boston, and it was not allowing me to do it. I couldn't tell if it was because I was too close to the airport, but I don't think I was. It was saying that I was doing it too soon to my flight time. My flight time, I was trying to put like 15 minutes because it's also taking into account the fact that we were getting close to sunset. So I think it was kind of having an issue with me when I was trying to fly and getting my authorization so close to sunset. It knew that the amount of time I was putting in for authorization would put me past sunset, and then I would need some sort of night waiver or something. Well, Mel, you got my attention. He can't say more, but he's just letting me know that I might get all my wishes. Ah, that's pretty cool. Shadow says, is the Mavic with zoom really worth it? I would imagine is what you mean to say. I think so. Well, you know, it's not just a Mavic Pro with a zoom lens. It's also a Mavic Pro with surround obstacle avoidance, longer flight time, many different enhancements. I also, one of the interesting things when I was doing the 100K subscriber live stream a week and a half ago, I realized, I thought, wow, this gimbal really isn't performing as well as I remember my Mavic 2's working. I haven't flown my Mavic Pro, the original one, the Mavic Pro 1, in well over a year, just because I got the Mavic 2's, I got the Mavic Air, I have the Autel Evo, I have the Phantom 4 Pro. It's like, how many drones can I fly? So certain drones obviously take priority, and the Mavic Pro kind of was in the closet for a while, just sitting. So when I flew it again, I realized, wow, yeah, I didn't realize that the Mavic 2 gimbal had been so well improved from the Mavic Pro 1. Now, I have crashed my Mavic Pro, my original Mavic Pro, a few times in the past. I don't think that damaged the gimbal, if I recall, but I did put it through some rough flights in the past. And there's one video in particular that I can think of. I put prop guards on my Mavic Pro for the first time and then did some zigzagging through these lines of trees. And I think it's called forest flying with the Mavic Pro. It was something I made early 2017. And I hit a tree, and because of the way the props were being protected with these prop guards, it actually sucked in the tree in front. Like, if I recall anyway, the props are moving and they're spinning like this, and they caught the tree like this and pulled it in. And I'm illustrating with my pop filter here. And then that's what why the drone crashed on the ground. I do remember the gimbal was very severely turned one way, and I had to kind of pop it back into position. So that could be one of the reasons. But at the same time, I do remember that there was always kind of a lazy horizon issue too with some of those original Mavics. Maybe not ones that were released a year or two afterward, but at the beginning, for sure, we had a lot of those drunken horizon issues. What's up, iSpike? How's it going? His YouTube app is down right now and on his phone, but okay, we got iSpike in here. Brandon broke a Hype Train blaster motor today. Thank you, Rotor Riot, for the Fly Hard program. Yeah, that's the replacement for those motors, isn't it? That's a pretty cool idea. I don't use those motors, and I probably should, because I've been chewing up my motors a lot. I actually just ruined a motor today on one of my FPV quads. Luckily, that's something that DJI flyers and GPS intelligent drone flyers don't have to deal with too much, but you know as well as I do, these little zippy flyers here, FPV racers, these components are a little more expendable, I suppose, and they're cheaper because you're replacing them all the time. iSpike says, can you give me your old Mavic Pro and I can do some mods to it? That'd be interesting. I do have a friend who has already expressed interest in buying it off me. And since he's my friend who lives in like just a couple minutes away, if I ever need to use it again for some sort of demonstration or comparison, I could. So I guess that's kind of, there's a convenience issue there. But if he decides he doesn't want it, then you're the next person I'll talk to, iSpike. Any new software improvements I'd like to see from DJI for the Mavic series? Maybe, well, I do want to see the DJI Go 4 app a little more stable, because there have been some crashes. I was experiencing more crashes with Android up until a point, and then with the new Mavic 2s, my iPhone started crashing. They fixed the majority of that, but my old iPhone, I actually have my iPhone here. My iPhone was working just fine with the Mavic Pro and the Mavic Air and the Spark and a few others. But as soon as I start plugging it up to the Mavic 2, I don't know what's the difference. Maybe it's the OcuSync 2.0 or something like that. I don't know. I don't know why that would affect the display device. This thing would overheat and it would dim, and then eventually it would give me some overheat issue, and the phone was like, you could really feel it was hot. I don't have that with my, whatchamacallit, my Pixel 3. This is the Google Pixel 3 XL. Why do I have both of these together? Well, I'm giving this one to my father. He's just recently expressed interest in graduating to a smartphone. He's always been a flip phone type of guy, but he saw me operating my phone in Boston because it was a family trip, and so I'm calling Lyfts, and I'm using Google Earth and stuff and Waze to get us around Boston on foot, and I'm looking up restaurants, and I'm looking up this and that, and he's like, you know what? It might be about time that I get a smartphone. So I'm giving my father my old iPhone 7 Plus, and I'm hoping that he's going to enjoy it. I think he will. It's just a lot bigger. He is used to a flip phone, so obviously this is thinner, but it's huge in comparison. I think he'll have fun. I think he was kind of freaked out, or maybe mom was a little bit more, about the fact that you can sign in with fingerprints. You know, like put your fingerprints and sign in. If you're not used to that type of thing, that can seem like a privacy issue. You know, like, why would I want to give Apple my fingerprint? But you don't have to use it. You can use a PIN. You can log in that way too. So we'll just see what he wants to do. Artco, see you later, man. Oh, I might have missed you. You said that a while back. But good night. Tom King asked, does placing on leg extensions on Pro 2 cause any flight issues? It didn't with the 1. I've never put leg extensions on a Pro 2, but I would imagine it's the same. No issues. You just want to make sure that they're attached well, because you very well could fly, then come back and realize that one of them had come off mid-flight. Oh yeah, check on the battery. Wouldn't that be nuts if it just exploded on live stream? It would get views. All right, completely dead. No sign of life. So if you notice, having done that, it actually got more puffy. And that's because the discharge rate was exceeded beyond manufacturer specifications. This can drain very quick to 0 volts. And so by doing that, you discharge this so fast that you puff up the batteries even more. So that's one of the reasons why you really want to do this in like a safe bag like this. They call this a lipo guard. And you can use these for DJI, you know, Autel batteries, whatever. But I'm using them right now for FPV drone batteries that connect with an XT60 connection right there. It's still kind of warm though. I feel like maybe I should keep it plugged in just till it's not warm anymore, because it feels like this may have just recently finished discharging. Yep, I live in North Carolina. But I was in Boston with my family a few weeks ago. Quinn is having issues with gimbal calibration errors. No, never had an issue. Just make sure that you have all the little brackets taken off that were holding the gimbal in place, which sounds obvious, but sometimes I forget. I've turned on my drone with them on before just because I forgot. And then just make sure that it goes through the entire process. I know a gimbal calibration can take a minute or two sometimes, and it sometimes takes a few minutes. I did a gimbal calibration a couple weeks ago in preparation for my live stream. Excuse me. And it took a lot longer than I recall it taking. So anyway. Stuart, I'm using Wirecast right now. It's a free program, but I think the free one gives you like a watermark on your image. For $10, you can remove that watermark, but the pro version or like the studio version is a couple $100. But I just have the $10 version, you know. That's all I need. The Evo can stream YouTube now. That's interesting. So maybe a month ago, something like that, I tried to live stream with the Evo. Could not get it to work. Could not do it. So I'll have to power that on again. I haven't powered on the Evo since Boston. Yeah, headline. Vinny says, man live streams video and battery explodes in his face. How reliable is return to home upon total loss of signal? Pretty reliable. As long as you have battery to do it. I've had no issues. It's always come back. Just make sure that you have some sort of maybe intelligent return to home where your sensors are going to help it avoid things and find a route around trees or structures in order to get back home safely. Also make sure that your return to home altitude is high enough, maybe 200 feet or more, so that when it does shoot up and go back home, it's going to clear anything around it. So maybe set your return to home altitude higher than anything around you at any given point in time while you're flying. Mike's got this smart controller coming tomorrow. Yeah. Works well. Firmware updates working. Yeah. I've always enjoyed it. Well, when you're screen recording, it's not the fastest. So there is a little bit of visible stutter in the image when you're screen recording. But if you're just flying normally and you're not screen recording, then yeah, it runs the app great. It's very functional. You'll forget after about 5 minutes that you're using anything different than your regular device hooked up to the regular remote. It's very intuitive. All right, Spike, thanks for coming in. That's awesome. Yeah, Intel Max, I'll have to check that out. Favorite drone of all time. It's got to be a Mavic. I think it is. I mean, I am partial to the ones that I built. You know, that's because I put a lot of effort into it. Burned myself with a soldering iron. Cut myself with the props. Cried when I got soldering smoke dust, you know, in my eyes. So a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But otherwise, you know, that's where it comes from. But yeah, the Mavic, I think there's always going to be a special place in my heart for the Mavic. Spike says he started an account with Epidemic Sound. I love their music library. So do I. I've used it all the time. I love Epidemic Sound. I got many followers here in the Dominican Republic. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you letting me know. I hope I can continue to make some videos for you guys so that I can retain some of the followers. Like I said at the beginning of this stream, I haven't done a whole lot of videos in the last couple weeks. It's been a busy time for me in other ways, but I'm hoping that after this coming week, like sometime after April 12th, which is, by the way, that's my birthday, April 12th. Just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, so after April 12th, that's my birthday. I should have a lot more time to be working with videos and making things for you guys and interacting. I do feel like that I've let a few things slip. I think I've left comments unanswered a little more than maybe I should. I try to answer questions that I know how to answer, but I do feel like I need to get a little bit more back in the groove with the drone community and seeing all your comments here and all of your, you know, your questions and just your thoughts and everything. Yeah, it's cool to see everyone come in here and say hi. It's a really good feeling. Yep, Mel already answered the question to Eric. $250 grams. Yep. Excited for summer flying. I'm excited for summer flying because the trees will have leaves. So especially for FPV drones, I'm going to be able to see trees because it's hard to see these little twigs and stuff sticking out everywhere. But once leaves grow on trees, it's much easier to fly. However, the bugs come out. And can you imagine having an FPV headset or maybe the DJI goggles or something like that, and you're flying and you're trying to concentrate, and all of a sudden something starts biting you right here and you're freaking out, and then you crash your drone? I've done that twice now where something was crawling on me and I freaked out and tried to swat it away and crashed my drone. That's what I don't like about summer flying. But I do like the fact that everything is green and luscious, and yeah, go outside and don't have to worry about putting on a jacket. I'm really looking forward to it. So bug spray and sunscreen, those two things I never leave the house without when I'm flying during the summer. Now, I don't know if, oh yeah, Spike is still here. You is it, I can't, so what is it like, just coming out of summer and it's getting colder for you as we go into the next couple months because things are different, because you're kind of below us in the equator? I don't know exactly how that works out, but I think you're opposite us in terms of seasons, right? Eric, this, I sent my friend a text showing him how much it weighed, and I can get that out. Let's see. So it weighs, all up weight, so battery plus GoPro, 620 grams, which is not too bad. As long as it's under 650, I'm pretty happy with that. The lighter an FPV quad is, the less prone it is to break. But the lighter it is, the more prone it is to being knocked around by wind. So there's a give and take there. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Having issues with DJI Assistant 2 and Windows. There have been a few. Well, first of all, I should ask, what issues are you having? And while you type, I will say that I have had some issues in the past with firmware updates with the Assistant 2. It'll lock up and it will stay at like 99%. It will never complete. and I get nervous and I'll think, oh great, did my drone lock up? I'll power off, I'll power it back on, and boom, firmware is updated, all is well. So I don't always get that firmware update success screen that I'm always looking for. There is always a chance that when you're updating firmware and you power off the drone without it finishing, that you will brick your drone or something will happen. You'll ruin the firmware. But so far, that's never been the case. I just let it wait. I just wait. I let it sit there and make sure that, you know, it's at 99% for a good long time before I even think about unplugging it. And then by that point, yeah, I guess maybe it was the app that, or the software that crashed or froze. But the drone has always come out of it unscathed. I've never, you know, freaked out its little mind. Thanks, Mel. The FPV, and he's probably talking about the FPV demonstration at Spin Up last year, December 1st in Texas, with a bunch of other YouTubers, namely Ready Set Drone, Kelly Shores. He put it on. He organized it. But Mel was there, and a bunch of other people. Chris was there. I don't think Chris is here anymore in the chat, but a couple of the people that were in this, Chris Hope, I believe, Steve Carpenter. Now I'm going to get in trouble here by not saying if someone was there or not. Lots of people from YouTube were there. I'll leave it at that. And I did a little FPV demonstration. It was very windy though, and that made it difficult. But if it's not very windy, it's a lot better experience for me. A lot less nerve-wracking. Okay, going into your fall, we call it autumn and then winter. Yeah. What we call autumn, we call it fall. I say fall because it's easy and I'm lazy. But autumn, just as much. Vinny, have you ever used Carefresh? Yes, once. My Phantom 4 Pro had a hairline crack along the arm, and I was worried that structural integrity was compromised. So I decided to send it in. I think it took like 10 days to send it in and get it back. Although I didn't get it back, I got a replacement. So they didn't actually fix my Phantom. I don't know where my original Phantom even is now. Excuse me. I got a new one. Now, some may say it was a refurbished one. It may very well have been a refurbished one, but it worked and it was fixed and there was no crack in the arm anymore, so I don't care. I'm happy. Spike says, you do like no-limit drones, and it is so important to read all the literature before any modding. Yeah, you've been talking about modding with the Mavic. I have no idea how to do all that. That's crazy that you have the confidence and the know-how to be able to mod a Mavic in a way that doesn't destroy it, as I probably would. Brad says head nets. Not a bad idea. Kluji has an idea. DJI just released a new version of Assistant Tuning last week to fix the UAC issue that stopped it from being able to launch at all. Well, there you go. Intel Maxell. I don't know why all of a sudden I have an issue saying your name. Have you done flight plans in the Mavic 2 yet? No, I have not. Jesse Perkins. Yeah, I saw him at Riot Rampage, although I didn't really know who he was at the time. People were pointing him out to me, and I thought, oh, that's cool. But I didn't actually know Jesse Perkins. I should have walked up to him and said hi at the time, but now that I know a little bit more about him, I'll keep an eye out for him next Riot Rampage, which I heard a rumor. I think it's August 22nd through 25th in Florida, but I'm not sure that was confirmed. But I'm going. Yeah. Well, guys, it's an hour. This is cold, which is a great sign. Means it's no longer a flight or a fire risk. Looks awful, but it also is completely inert, and we're not going to have an issue. So, success. By the way, if you do that, make sure that you stand the light bulb up in this thing. And for those of you who may have missed the first bit of this video, I was discharging a damaged drone battery by hooking it up to a car light bulb. It's completely dead now. There's no light in the light bulb. So that means the drone has 0 volts. But when I did it, I used this LiPo guard, which is zippable. And that will keep it from exploding and catching fire. Well, it could catch fire, but it'll keep it contained. But you see right in there, you see that burn mark right there? That was because I had set this one day laying down, touching the bottom of this case, and it actually burned a hole through this thing. It's heat resistant, but it burned a hole through it. Now, I had that sitting on something else at the very top of my computer, actually, because my computer was closer to my monitor at the previous house I lived in, and I melted part of the top of my computer. So this thing gets really hot. So if you put this in here, make sure that the light bulb stays sitting upward, and I could probably fashion something to make it continue to stand up there without falling, because the moment it falls sideways, it's going to start melting through whatever surface you are setting this LiPo guard on. Just a tip. Anyway. Oh! Mel, how about this? Hold on. It's a Segway helmet. It's a helmet from the company Segway. I don't know if you can see. Segway. There. Why do I have a Segway helmet? Well, it's because supposedly the company Segway is sending me a Segway. Now, I don't really know if they really... I mean, this is proof that they kind of are, that the helmet got here first. But at the same time, it's kind of weird that the helmet got here and the Segway didn't. So I'm not sure if they forgot to send me the Segway and only sent me the helmet. But anyway, I'm supposed to be reviewing a Segway. I just don't know where it's at. And the helmet is so that I don't kill myself, but also to agree to the video review, I actually have to wear this for the review. So as much as I don't want to, and I should, but as much as I don't want to, I will need to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, guys, I think I'm gonna call it. It's been about a little more than an hour, and I'm very delighted that you all came on a Sunday evening. Oh, so I should clarify, it's not a full-size Segway. It's one of those smaller ones. It's like let me see if I can find the model. Segway. What is the model? The 9bot S. So that's the version that only like you use with your knees. Like you don't actually have handlebars and stuff. This is just something that you use with your feet, and then there's kind of a piece that goes up the inside of your shin about by your knee, and that's how you can then control it. So yeah, I'm not getting like a full-size Segway, but I am getting a Segway product. So that is that. Anyway, cool. Thanks, guys, for watching. As always, happy flying. I'm going to let this kind of run out, because if I stop this too quick, then the live stream will cut my last couple words off. But thank you so much for watching. Keep an eye out for some stuff. Unfortunately, I probably won't release a video this week, but starting next week, we're going to be on our normal, regular schedule, and look forward to doing that. Peace.